part of our top 10 Etsy leather makers, we have the wallet from Ozalita Leather Goods, and Oguzhan, who's the maker, has a bifold wallet here we're going to take a look at. So let's get into it. Came to us in a plastic bag, a Ziploc plastic bag, nothing fancy. And there we go. This is the brown color with caramel colored thread, as well as a caramel color interior. I like this contrast. Let's take a look at the stitching really quick, because we like to do that, because there are some basic things we look at here. It's done well, but I'm not seeing reinforcement. Reinforcement in edges, where at the top level that receives all that stress meets, is something that should be reinforced. So up here, and also where this piece meets here, this down here and here, we would normally see, or should see, some reinforcement. Nice geometric creasing right there. And as you can see, we have the natural flesh side right here, which means that both this brown and this caramel have been dyed. It is a dye that's been applied to this wallet. Well, awesome. Let's get into it. We have no features on the exterior of this wallet. If we move to the interior, we see that we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 card slots. They kind of intersect with each other on both sides here. And if we go to the interior, we see we have a full billfold pocket. And it is quite generous, and the ability to put cards in vertically also is something you can do. And that is a quick review of the features of the Ozalita Bifold Leather Wallet. It measures 3.8 by 4.1 by 0.3, and it weighs 40 grams. Now onto the card and cash insertion test. As you saw, I got 6 cards in the whole stack of cash, all 12 notes. Fit all of them, all currencies, not a problem there, even those taller ones like the yen and the euro. Minimalist carry, probably 4 cards, reasonable is 6. Company recommends up to 8 cards. Now, looking at this from the pocket insertion, you can see that it slides in nicely in the front pocket, and extraction isn't a problem, and it also fits well in the back pocket. Now, Oguzhan, the maker of Ozalita Leather Goods, is a new maker on Etsy, and what attracted me to him is his unique design elements on his wallets. He's been able to take something that's really hard to innovate on, a bifold for example, and he introduces through color and features something that's really kind of fresh. From a quality perspective, this is designed and made in Turkey. Its burnishing is really quite nice. You can just see the burnishing here. It's nice and has a nice shiny, sheeny edge to it, and you can see the different layers of leather in here. This just adds to character, it really does, and it isn't approached the same way by all makers, but when they do something like this, I think it really adds to the wallet. Now there is the crease feature that we see on this. Notice the creasing here at the top of the wallet that goes all the way around, and it, again, adds some character, some texture, and then in the interior, this geometric type shape look based off of the design of how the cards insert themselves, it just draws your eye in a particular way. I think it just, again, adds some texture and character. It is a thinner cut of leather to facilitate a slimmer profile. It is a full grain veg tan leather, and, you know, I don't want to smell cash, so let's see what we got. And that does smell really good. Now, Oguzhan hand dyes the leather with a water-soluble dye, which is why you don't see that color all the way through, as we pointed out on the flesh side right here in the billfold slot. Now, surface dyeing is a common practice. It's done by major manufacturers, but it has its detractors depending on the type of dye and the process used. If it's an aniline dye and they use a protectant like Resin, which is an acrylic layer that's applied afterwards to prevent it from bleeding, which is the biggest thing, then we really are okay. I haven't been able to determine if there was an acrylic layer put on this, but it feels like it. It kind of smells a bit like it's there, so I think we're probably okay. And you can see that piece right in here again. You can see where the dye has come through, so we know that this is dyed, and you can see that up here. And there is also some variation in the dye that's been applied. Personally, I don't like this, Again, it just adds some variation in the color that you might like. And I don't think it's a bad thing, honestly. It's just not a personal preference of mine. It is priced for $66, and they do ship free to the United States. From a usability perspective, this wallet is pretty easy to use. The only recommendation I have might be on the lowering the height of the front piece of leather here as it relates to the back piece of leather in the billfold pocket. A lot of wallets will reduce the height of this just a little bit so that you have a thumb grab on the back piece without having to always touch the front, because this again will begin to show wear and tear over time. It's more of a long-term usability thing. Once you get into it, it's just fine. I can imagine why he didn't do that, because if you did lower this, then you begin to expose the undyed portion in the back. That's just kind of a preference there. The other thing that's a concern is you have the cards, and they overlap on the interior. They do not have separate slot pockets, which means, did I say hot pockets or slot pockets? No, slot pockets. And so that means that you will have card wear and tear that go in between here over time, and that might be a problem for you. So now let's get on to the final score. For quality of 4, it's missing some reinforcements on the edges, and the dye not being applied on the flesh side, something that I don't really prefer, and that's a personal preference, but I also know that that's something that most people feel, that I've gotten a understanding of over time. Still a great score. Price at 3, but the prices fluctuate up and down, so watch for that. Features a 3. Usability of 4. This wallet really is easy to use, and perception of 4. The unique design elements Oguzhan incorporates and expresses in his wallets really makes his offering stand out. And that gives us a final score of 37 out of 50. Thanks for joining us. Check out the other videos for the top 10 Etsy leather makers of 2021, and we'll see you in the next review.